All
Confirmed.
right, what's up, y'all? This is Lab to Lights. It starts in a lab podcast where we bring you coaches, trainers, players that are at the top of their game to help you transition your game from the lab under the lights. Today we have a great, well-known trainer out of LA, Ian Hietala. How you doing today, Ian?
Hey, pretty good, man. How you feeling?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Before we jump into this, just give everybody an idea of what your training is about, where they can find your training, who you just about who you are.
Yeah. So first of all, our training at IU's basketball is very much it's not unique and it's not unorthodox, but it's having a mixture between performance training and movement quality, and really kind of niching down on those type of qualities and also skill work in general. Being able to like make players move better, make them perform better, but also have them understand basketball itself, so understanding certain types of sets, understanding actually how to play within the game, understanding how to move off ball, basic general IQ stuff. And I think a lot of it's kind of being missed in today's game, but I like to focus a lot on just those aspects and those skills. And I think a lot of players don't pay attention to that because it's so detailed. They don't pay attention to, the movement quality and how low you can get, or, how well you
Mhm.
move laterally and linearly. So a lot of those things I like to focus on because I think players can benefit the best off of it. And you can really see it within the training. It transfers between any skill, to be quite honest with you. And I think it's quite neglected. You think of it as only like a strength and conditioning standpoint, but I think you can blend the two and have a nice balance. And yeah, they just go right within each other, and you kind of can breed some really good players by doing that.
Awesome, man. Now you say that the things that are missing in today's game. Now we both know we see the young guys. Everybody wants to be Steph. Everybody wants to be Dame, Kyrie. They want to shoot from
Yeah.
half court every possession. What are some of the things that you feel is missing that you see as soon as players come in? That's kind of common, a commonality between the players. What do you think some of the things are missing?
Um, I mean, you can obviously definitely say like when it comes to the IQ standpoint. So like, understanding when to use
Mm,
a move, when to not use a move. I think a lot of players right now focus on moves and moves and moves, and they want to get very jiggy with things and whatnot. And a lot of my players that I actually deal with, I have a couple that I've talked to about this a lot. They're very shifting. They're very, very skilled. And so what happens is that, the dosage is the poison. And when they use too much of the skill, they overthink a little bit. They kind of get put themselves
mm,
in good positions, but they do a little too much. They put actually a little pizzazz on it when they didn't need to. I have one guy who's really good at snatching. Like when we play 1v1, we're just joking around, we're playing seriously. He'll snatch the heck out of you. It'd be crazy. He'll create nice separation from you, get low, sell that drive. And then you'll get the separation. He can just shoot a simple shot, but then he decides maybe heads you off of it or decides to do something else off of it when he didn't need to. So I think a lot of players
mm,
right now are like focused on pizzazz, 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 and they kind of just don't know like when to stop it, when to just use it.
right.
And I always say, whenever it comes to, wanting to score or wanting to get better, whatever the case may be, you start with your superpower. So like for instance, I'll use myself as an example. I'm very much a attacking the basket type of guy and shooting mid ranges. Like I love that. That's just my game. I love penetrating, attacking, and getting within the midi. Now I can shoot my three, all that great stuff, and shoot my step backs, great. But I always try to get to my superpower. So if my superpower is that, I'm always going to get to that 9 times out of 10. If it gets taken away and somebody sags off and they want to do it, then I start working on my threes and I start working on my step
Mhm.
backs, creating separation. I think a lot of players right now, anytime they get into a one-on-one situation, they think about things that they've seen online, or they think about things that they've, seen on in a game or through just, normal TikTok or like Instagram tape, and they just want to start doing that. And they'll do it at any moment. Even if like the dude's sagged off, they'll still do a cross behind snatch with the dude sagged
Yeah.
off when it's like, just shoot the ball, bro. So I think you're getting that a lot now. So you're just kind of getting this standpoint of just like wanting to look a certain way and wanting to be a certain player. When in reality, when you watch those players like Kyrie's, for instance, and Curry's, they're not doing that, 90% of the game. They're doing that less than maybe not maybe less than 18 to 20% of the game. They're getting those situations. So
Wow.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of players aren't watching full games and they're not watching full tapes. And because of that, they're not seeing the truth and the reality behind what's going into 30 points per game. You're only seeing the pizzazz that's putting on the highlight tapes on YouTube and whatnot. And so
Mhm.
I think they just think that happens all the time. And I think that's currently what's missing is just understanding, when to use certain moves, when to not use certain moves. and the reality behind scoring that many points per game.
Yeah, because like you said, today's game, the kids want the highlights and
Yeah,
getting that, even if I catch you with a crossover and a step back, that extra ooh from the crowd,
yeah,
that's going to
yep.
get me to the next level. So they think. Do you think that that's, because of the climate are in today's game, you think that that's something that a lot of kids feel is the standard? Like if I send this highlight tape for even, for a trainer like Ian to help me, do I need to have all of these crossover step backs and make the game look a lot harder than what it is? When in actuality, you want simplicity.
Yeah, I mean, I know first half, like when it comes to coaches, coaches don't care about it because coaches are very, it depends what coach and what system they're running, obviously. Like if you get mostly, for instance, like a D3 school, for instance, in the middle of nowhere, if it's a private and they're in a really good conference, for instance, a lot of teams
Mhm.
nowadays, of what I'm starting to realize is that they're running a lot of like very quick transition style teams. Well, they just jack up a bunch of threes and just they're always constantly running. Like you're seeing that a lot right now. So I think coaches right now, for instance, they're looking for just shooting. They're looking for just to see if you're a general athlete, and obviously if you have just general IQ to make the right passes when maybe their motion offense or something like that. I
Mhm.
think it's more qualities than it is skill. I think if you were to grab, I think I've seen plenty of players of when, for instance, when I was playing in college, but they're not skilled at all. Like if we play one on one, I'd smoke them every single time, but they got more playing time than me because they fit so well in that system, and they knew that coach, they knew that system. And so I think right now, when it comes to like players wanting to send in film and whatnot, I think it goes down to like these players need to understand the coach's system, and the coach won't even probably recruit you, or even give you any interest if your play style doesn't fit their system.
Right.
So I think it's very systematic when it comes to that point. Now, when it comes to me and when I do film study for my players and whatnot, and I'm doing film study and I understand what they need to work on. Them doing those moves actually helps me because I that's my job. I had to look at that type of stuff. If I just see they're doing too much, we just get to a session and we'll just work on a couple moves that I saw. For instance, if they were doing a lot of moves within a game that I didn't need to do, but I saw one that was pretty reoccurring. So if it was a lateral cross, like a float in a
Mhm.
sense, and they kept doing moves off of that, I would honestly just pick that apart and be like, okay, look, we're gonna work on this lateral float that you love to do because you get to that a lot. You're comfortable with it. Then you just start making simple reads off that. Maybe you start throwing out audio cues, read and react, stuff, different types of moves off of that, and then maybe you get into a session, you make them play only one on one out of that session or out of that lateral bound with a 5 second
Mhm.
shot clock. So they only have 5 seconds to score. So they're forced to kind of actually be less jiggy and more simple.
Yeah.
So there's
Mhm.
different ways in which I utilize that. And I kind of like decide, okay, if I see something that's very reoccurring, we keep going back to that. We keep doing this. We keep doing that. Um, so yeah, I think it can help. Like it's better to be skilled than not skilled. I'd much rather have a player who is like way too jiggy than somebody who's just like stiff as hell. I'd rather have that 9 times out of 10
Yeah.
because they're going to be able to do whatever I want, and honestly, it's going to be a lot easier to train them. But then two, for coach, I don't even see why a coach would want to be like not wanting to have that type of player because truthfully, the coach doesn't even need to coach the player a whole lot. The coach just needs to say, hey, just do this, this, and that. And if the player buys
Yeah.
in, easy money.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's not a big issue, but coaches they're looking for more systematic players that fit within their system. For me training, that actually helps me because I actually get to dumb it down a little bit, simplify it, and
Mhm.
I just let them kind of do what they want to do, but then pull out those moves when they have to pull out those moves.
Awesome. Awesome. So to piggyback off that system, I asked you about the system and the players. So if you're training a guy and you know that a team has a certain system, he already signed his scholarship. Are you changing his whole game to where you're not doing so much if he's a shooter, you're not doing so much one-on-one? Are you still doing the one-on-ones to keep him sharp at it? How does that training look like? What does that training look like for you if I'm a player, just signed a scholarship, they want me to be a 3 and D guy at the school, however we're coming to you to
Mm.
do what?
Yeah, so if a player comes to me, he's already being put in a situation where he kind of knows his role. Uh,
Mhm.
I'll for one, I still believe in working on your skills no matter what. So they're still going to come into my session. We're still going to do the basics, the simple, like not simple, but we're still going to do skill work. I'm still going to want to add them to the game because I think when it comes to players, like they become so robotic to a certain point where like the training doesn't even help them become better. It just helps them to get better for their team. And then what happens after they're done with their team? Then they want to go pro. And it's like by the time they went pro, they're so damn robotic to the point where it's like they have to relearn everything because they never worked on it. So it's like I
Yeah.
still mix it in like it's snacks. So I'm still putting in like different type of movement quality drills, certain types of skills that we can work on that can be applied in any situation. But then always like I'll definitely sprinkle in some of the game situational stuff. So for instance, you said he's a shooter. If he's a shooter, 9 times out of 10, like you're gonna get teams who are going to have closeout situations. Like you're gonna get it every single game. Like I was at a game last Friday at a JUCO game, and there's so many
Mm.
closeout situations. And so like I'm watching my player, and I'm like, okay, I know exactly what we're working on next time we go into the gym. So if
Yeah.
he's a shooter, we're gonna be working on the closeout situation. So if he's put into a session where I have him going one-on-one against a guy or I have something else of that nature, he's going to be coming off of lifts, drifts, maybe some elevator action or whatever cuts that he's seeing within his team. Maybe it's a zipper cut, maybe it's some type of Kansas action, whatever the case may be. He gets into that cut, he gets into that situation or that system, and he
Hmm.
plays out of that by having the defender close out on him each and every time. And then you just start to go off of that. You start to go off the closeout situations, and then you're going off a closeout situation, and then directly off of that, you're deciding, okay, when do you attack the basket, when do you shoot it, because you don't know if the
Right.
defender's going to be sagging all the way or going all the way up. So you just start to play off that. And then obviously too, if they're running, for instance, like driving in and penetrating, kicking out a lot, then you have another drill like that where you have a guy who dribbles in, picks out, then he penetrates for closeout situations. So you're just working on basic, systematic stuff that you'd see within a game, but you just apply into a one-on-one situation. So when they get into that position, they're very like fundamental and they're very just like keen and just, at ease with it. They don't have to worry or stress too much about it.
Right. Right. And the reason why I asked you that is because you look at players like a Draymond Green. When he went to college at Michigan State, he was hitting mid ranges, he was hitting top of the key threes. He's pretty much doing
Mhm.
a lot of the things he's not doing now, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's a lot of that has to do with him accepting his role. What's your take on the younger guys
Well,
on
to get that back on that one, I don't know if you watched Paul George's podcast, but he was on his podcast and he talked about how during that whole period of time where he wasn't shooting a whole lot and he wasn't feeling good about his shot or whatever, he actually admitted saying that he lost confidence, like on the podcast. And so
wow?
you get that. Like they get to the training and they talk about like when they're training, they work on just the basics and whatnot, what they see within the system, and they lose confidence in their skills. That's the exact opposite of like what training should be. It should be
Right.
instilling those skills, keeping them in, if anything, just slowly building them within the season.
Hmm.
And then the off season comes by and boom. Now, granted, he has like I don't know how big his contract is, but he has a big contract for that exact role. He's basically Steph
Right.
Curry's right hand man, if we're being honest
Yeah.
here. So yeah, I get it. But then in the same token, like if Steph Curry's not shooting well, or if he is shooting super well, and they keep doing that handoff situation, they just keep cutting off the handoff, and he just fakes those handoffs like he always does to get to the basket, then you have skills to work on off of that skill. You don't have to worry about being a robot. So it's like
Hmm.
it's a good example of him. He literally admitted saying that he lost confidence, and probably because he wasn't working on his game and because he was put into a box in a sense.
Yeah. So how would a player or a trainer that has a player like that, that's in the league, he has this role. Okay, I know I'm not going to be getting these shots, and we're doing this in the workouts. How do you get that confidence back if I'm only expecting to take, 6, 7 shots a game?
I honestly, me personally, like I've dealt with players like that. I still put them through just like a normal workout where I just tell them like, hey,
Right.
we're gonna what. I even asked them beforehand. I'll just kind of like ask them like, hey, what do you want to work on? Da, da, da. What is it you've been wanting to do? And I'll put them through like a fun workout. I'll put them through like some jiggy stuff. They want to get jiggy with it, cool. Because sometimes you need to like get your confidence back in a sense, and you
Right.
can't get your confidence back by seeing that you have to switch up the environment. Get out of the current situation that you're currently in. I had a player who was like very stressed because he didn't like what was going on within the season. He wasn't getting a lot of time because of it. And we had a workout and it's a semi-private group. And so I just told him like, hey, look, I'm not gonna get on you today. I'm not gonna like, get on your ass and tell you doing this and doing that. Just have fun. Just be able to do the drill, have fun playing on one-on-one. I don't care what you do. And he ended up like killing it, had a great workout. It's because he felt loose. He felt loose, he felt relaxed, he was having fun playing basketball. That's what happens is that like you get these dudes and they start losing the love for the game. And when you lose the love for the game, you don't even want to be there. And when you don't want to be there, you're not going to put your 100% effort in. And then when you don't put your 100% effort in, you just suck. So I'm all about just like getting back to finding some sort of way, whatever it may be, to just find like that love and that like childlike type of fun for the game when it comes to that type of stuff.
Yeah, I believe that anybody that plays college basketball on just about any level, those first 2 months will let you know if you really love basketball because
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
really
yeah,
all you're doing, from when you wake
yeah,
up to go to sleep to film,
yep,
when classes start, and you got study hall. So that's another
yep,
hour or two that you're taking the
yeah,
time. Just
yeah.
to change gears a little bit, I know we spoke on the coaching aspect, and I had some guys ask this previously, and I wanted to get your take on it. What's your take on coaches not wanting trainers around their players during the season?
Um, I haven't experienced it too much, but I have heard like other players, I mean, other trainers talk about that type of stuff. Um, I don't know. It's a little funky. I know the whole sport is political in a sense, and every sport it is when it comes to that type of stuff. It's hard for me to comment on it because I haven't been through it enough.
Mhm.
My only gripe on it is just simply that, it's maybe it's maybe just an aspect of like whatever we're working on, you just don't agree with. And so because of that you don't agree with it means that like you just don't want me to train him at all. And maybe it's this type of drills that he's not liking, or it's the type of concepts we're being taught that he doesn't like. Maybe he doesn't want to be taught this, and that. And he thinks that because I'm teaching him that concept, meaning that that player is then going to go up against his coach, and then they're not going to mingle, and then they're going to be arguing and whatnot. Um, at the end of the day, I hate to say it's a battle of egos. I hate to say it. It's just what it is. It's a battle of egos. One dude wants to be top dog. He doesn't want another guy getting above him, or in terms of just impact. Um, I just think it's kind of silly, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, we're here to help the players. We're not here to take ownership. We're not signing
Right.
a contract and saying this is my guy, this is not your guy. I'm here and I only started doing this because one, I love basketball. I love the process of training a player, developing a player, and getting to see the flowers at the end. I love seeing all that. Um, so it's like with coaches, it should be the same instance. It's like you're coaching these guys and you're raising this team, you're raising this environment, and it's like if you care so much about your player and your player likes his trainer a lot, then you'd allow your player to go like his trainer, go train with him. That's like his sweet spot, his happy spot. That's what develops him. Especially to be quite honest with you, the coach probably wouldn't even have the damn player or wouldn't even be playing him, or the coach wouldn't be getting as many wins, especially if that's his top dog player, if it wasn't for the trainer training his ass to become a better
Yeah,
player.
a lot of
It kind of
times.
goes hand in hand. So it's like it's this weird like it's just a very weird political situation, and I just don't understand it. I think it's just a battle of egos at the end of the day, who wants who, and yeah, it's silly to be honest with you. It's just basketball. It's people taking this damn thing like it's a business, and it's like, bro, it's like it's NBA shit. It's not NBA shit, but it's high school, college. Like, come on, man.
Right.
So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I've experienced, not me, another trainer I know experienced. The coach was more so about load management, which, and this is a high school player, so AAU he's playing 3 4 games in a day,
Yeah,
but they're in the high
yeah,
school season. It's like he got to get his rest, and
yeah,
for some trainers, you kind of have to honor the coach because if there's really any animosity towards the trainer and the coach, he can really say, all right, if you're going to this trainer and killing your body
yeah,
because I want you to do load management, I'm just going to sit you for you know X amount of time, and then it
yeah,
becomes unfair for the
yeah.
player.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, so
you end up doing the player disadvantage. So yeah, the load management part, I can totally understand. I'm dealing with that right now. Like I have a couple players, and I know the coaches, and they're saying to the coaches like, "Hey, we want to go work out, da da da," but they said like we got to rest for Friday's game. Completely fine with that. Like I don't care. Like we wait till the offseason, I'm cool with that. But
mm.
in terms of other purposes, when it comes to like, oh, I don't want you to train with him because he's not teaching you the right stuff. It's like that's bullcrap to me. I think that's like funny stuff, to be honest with you.
so as far as teaching the right stuff, I'm pretty sure you've seen some foolishness on the gram as far as training. To each his own. At the same time, what
Yeah.
helps the trainer helps the player. Yeah, it is what it is. What's your take on kids coming up to you, or if they do come up to you, hey, I saw this drill, XYZ did it. Can we do this? Do you take those drills, or do you remix them? Do you throw them out
Mhm.
and do your own thing? How do you approach that?
So okay, let's first of all let's define. And I was talking with somebody about this. Let's define what even is a drill. What's the purpose of a drill? Let me ask you this: what's the purpose of creating a drill?
To be able to replicate what goes on in a game, so it's come second nature by the time game
Yeah,
comes up.
I would say a drill, and this can go for anything because you can also say a drill applies to like strength and conditioning. A drill is something, in my opinion, a drill is something that helps you get better at a specific quality or skill. That's what you do a drill for. Drills, if you can do that for track and field, you can do that for sports, any sport. That's my understanding of a drill is. Game
Hmm.
situational drill is different. That's for preparing for the game. So a drill is to get better at a certain quality, a certain skill. Now, let's say I put out a drill that looks weird and unorthodox versus the drill that looks more orthodox and you've seen quite often. Now, if the weird and unorthodox drill helps you perform and do that quality and you get a lot better at that skill and quality versus the orthodox one, which one would you choose? I think most people would choose the unorthodox one because it's going to get them better at it. But the issue
Right.
is that in today, and this goes for generational times, you're getting people who are afraid to kind of go against the grind. You get people who kind of like want to stay in this comfortable bubble. And because they stay in the comfortable bubble, they stay within the exact same results. And it happens generation after generation after generation after generation. There's a good
Yeah.
example is that what you're seeing right now, uh, dunk contest back in the 70s and 80s versus today. Today is like, bruh, what? It's not even competition because of that, we have a lot more athletic players. Now, there's a whole list of reasons as why there's more athletic players. The main reason is that the technology is a lot better. The training methodology is a lot better. The only
Hmm.
reason they got better was because somebody had to go against the grind. Somebody had to innovate in a sense and do something that was against what the traditional ways of being taught was. The same
Right.
thing that applies with basketball. And so if you want more skilled people, you want more skilled players, you want more better at anything, of any particular quality or skill, if you keep doing the same thing on and on and on and on and on and on, and you want to see a better result, you're not going to get a better result. And so, if anything, you're psychotic for that because you're doing the exact same thing. So I don't look at a drill and I don't say like this is a terrible drill, this is a good drill, and this is a pointless drill because I have to put it into perspective. Like, what's the point of the drill? What are we trying to get better at? If I see a dude, and you may see my posts, I was jumping off boxes, doing plyometrics and adding in skill work, and I got some comments where people were like, "The hell are you doing? Da, da, da. Like this don't even make sense. Da, da, da. What's the point of this?" And instead of, if I was that person, I would have instead asked, interesting. What was the point of this drill? What were you trying to improve at?
Yeah.
Great freaking question, bro. So what I was doing was I'm trying to work on contracting and relaxing to work on that twitch motion that a lot of players are really good at, twitching and trying to cross over. And then when I landed and stabilized on one leg, I was working on balance, which is what a lot of players struggle with. And what does that translate to? Shooting. And then directly off of that, I worked on getting into a crossover into my shot. What does that work on? Crossover for work into a shot. Then we started to understand, we put together the concept, put together the details, and we're like, okay, this was a good drill for what you're trying to do. Now, if I said this drill was meant for, you know, um, getting better at shooting, it wouldn't be the necessarily the best drill because you're doing a bunch of bullshit just to get into a shot.
Right.
So no,
Right.
it's not a good drill. So I think a lot of people just gotta like stop with like immediately having this impulse of like, what was the point of this drill? Instead of like, we should have the impulse of immediately asking, what's the point? What are we trying to work on? And then once you
Right.
put the keys together and all the details, then that's a good drill. To back off on that now, when I see a lot of these drills, I don't think a lot of the drills are bad. When I asked what they're working on, they can't give me a clear answer. So then I'm like, okay, this is maybe some bullshit. But then I also have to ask, like, when I see the drill, how much like detail is into this? Like when you see a TikTok drill, like an Instagram drill, like a YouTube drill, and you're just seeing like top three moves to kill the defender, it's like, great. I love the move, cross jab, in and out, cross, like snatch back, love it, love all of it. But it's like you're just showing the move though. Like we need a little bit of like some nuance here. We need details. We need a little bit of some breakdown here, some in-depth analysis. Because these players, like, they'll just go out and do it, and when they go out and do it, they don't know how to apply it, or they don't even know what details to focus on to make the move effective. Because when they go out and do the move and they get ripped, they're like, "How the hell did I do this move? Like I saw it on TikTok. He did it so well." Maybe because you didn't pay attention to like the internal shin rotation, maybe the ball placement, maybe the foot placement, maybe the dribble step timing. Like there's so many details that go into it. And so I think that's the issue that we're having. I'm not worried about the drills necessarily. I'm not worried about all that. I'm just worried about the analysis, the details, the nuance, and especially the perspective with a lot of these drills and what's being put out there. I just wish there's a little bit more accountability from that factor.
Awesome, awesome. Last few questions for you. Um, from a practicing standpoint, this is for kids that they work out with you for the day, and then they do their own thing. When they're doing their own thing, do you advocate for working out by yourself or more so a pickup? Because for me, I would tell a lot of the younger guys, when you work out by yourself, that gives you the tools, and then having the confidence to do that against somebody sharpens those tools.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
what's your approach for those players when they're not in the gym with you?
Yeah, so what we do, I'll give a general application of what they can do, and then I'll give you what our players do. What our players do is anybody who basically has a package plan with me, and they go through private, group, whatever the case may be, they are immediately admitted to my app. And with my app, I have like the full breakdowns, I have a full workout, I have full workouts in this. And so basically, with each and every player, I track what they should be working on and what they could be doing on themselves when they're not with me. So it makes it a lot easier for me because I'm not being with them, every single day. When I'm only with them once or twice a week, the rest of the days they're still working on their skills. I'm just there
Okay.
as accountability, and then maybe I added some things. But what I also do is when they have those workouts, I tell them to focus on this, this, and that. This is what I want you doing. Look, hey, in this session, we really struggle with that lift and that drift. When you get into the workout, I want you doing more sets and reps of that drift and that lift instead of the other isolation moves or the other finishing moves that you're already good at. Still do those, but focus more during that particular workout on those two. So each player I can get very individual with. That's just for our players. Now, for a general application, for just general people who are kind of listening to this or just have, wanting to work out on their own, working out on your own isn't bad. The best thing I can offer them to do, though, is to think about visualization. So, for instance, if you're working on a move and you're working on a cross, let's say, a lot of times you'll get players who are like very lackadaising because they don't have the accountability in front of them. They do a cross, they put the ball right in front of them, and they can just get ripped every single time. So what I think about is like, okay, think about in yourself. You visualize having a defender. You see both feet angled at a certain position. You're being forced a certain way. Think about trying to get outside the hips. Maybe even set up cones right there. You think about having some sort of accountability so you can try and like, almost replicate that defender. Then if you don't have that, you think about visualization. Great, all that good stuff, and then try find somebody. So trying to find somebody at the gym, try to find somebody or a friend. Even if they're not good, just work on that skill. Have a defender in front of you, so now you understand how to read and react to certain situations. And then, like you talked about, pickup. Pickup's a great opportunity because now you're having the accountability of help defenses as well. So you don't have this huge wide space. You have very tiny gaps.
Right.
So that would be my thing. My 3 step process whenever it comes to getting better at anything is to just pick the skill, work on the skill, master it on your own, and then apply into a one-on-one or game situational setting. That's pretty much like your go-to that you can use that little quick, simple 3 step process.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Now let's turn gears here. Who are some of the players that you like in the NBA?
Uh, NBA right now, Kyrie's always been the number one, only because he's just a savant of just how he moves, man. He's just like amazing in that sense. Most skilled player ever, makes the fundamentals like even look skilled. Him, I like Fred a lot. Fred, I think he's a good motivational example for a lot of players out here. Not super athletic,
Hmm.
very skilled, but still got the opportunity to make it. You got him. I think number 3 would be Tyrese Halliburton, only because he has such a nice mixture of skill work, but also just like being able to create for his teammates. He's also very good at just being able to get his own, but especially set up for others. And he's very smooth and just like very crafty with it. So those are like my top 3 guys at the moment. And then outside of that, in the Euro League, Mike James is my favorite. He's just pure score, just to put it as simple as
Yeah.
that. Just pure score, small guy, very strong, very stocky, also very athletic.
Hmm. Awesome, man. Awesome. And if there was 5 NBA guys that you can hand pick on your own to train for a season, what 5 would you go with?
Okay. I'm gonna go point guard through center. Point guard, Point guard, I'm gonna go with TJ McConnell because every single time I see him, I always think about how I could have feel like I could have made the NBA. So I'm gonna go with TJ McConnell. Uh, I think for the shooting
I
guard,
plead the
I'm gonna
fifth on that
go.
one.
He's like a 6'1" white guy. I'm like, damn it, bro, I could have done it. I'm more athletic than him. Shooting guard, I probably go when it comes to shooting guard. I'd probably go with. Oh man, I'd probably go with maybe like DeMar DeRozan. I think
Wow.
he's already very athletic. And he already has a great mid-range game. He can attack the basket very well. I just
Hmm.
think I can maybe, if I was working with him, I feel like I can add more of like the separational component. Maybe not so much of the Kobe-esque type of game that he
Yeah.
has, but adding more of that flair, maybe moving more efficiently laterally and stop on a dime and creating separation. And obviously the three-point shot. Uh, Small forward, hands down, Paul George. He's the most skilled small forward right now in the league. 6'9" guy. Not much I can add to his game, to be quite honest with you. I just want to work with him. Power forward, power forward. I'd probably go with I'd probably go with AD because I'd like to mix in some like performance work and some skill work, so he don't gotta be injured all damn season. So I'd probably go with him.
Yeah.
Center. Uh, You know what, man?
Oh boy.
Center is Jokic considered a center? Or is he power forward? I think he's a center. I'm gonna go
It's better.
Jokic as center. Yeah, I think he's center. I'm gonna go Jokic as center because, first of all, for one, actually take that back. Scratch that. Power forward. I'm going with Zion. I'm going with Zion as power forward. I
Okay.
think quite quite literally because he can only attack the basket, and every single time he catches it around the post, all he needs to do is just literally turn around and just shoot the ball. So I feel like I can add a lot to his mid range game. And then center Jokic hands down because I would work solely on just movement quality. Like I wouldn't even work on like you need to shoot the ball like this way, that way. I would just want him to be like a killer off the dribble and just be able to like not blow past people, but be nice and smooth off the dribble.
Yeah.
So yeah, those would be the five right there. Those would definitely be the five. Definitely Zion would be my favorite to work with though.
Hey man, that's a dope five right there. That's some
Yeah, man.
that's some good work in the gym. But
Yeah,
as
yeah.
we
And
close
then
out,
TJ
man,
McConnell become an
let
all
the
star.
people know. Yeah, right. A sharpshooter. But
Yeah.
let the people know what where they can find you, your app, your website, where they can reach you, the whole shebang. What you got
Yeah,
coming up
so pretty
next in
much
the future, in the near
on all
future?
social media platforms, man. We're at IWH Basketball, and you can follow us. We have daily content that's being put up, reels, just normal photos, whatnot, just general applications, a lot of drills, a lot of ways you can add some, little subtle qualities to your training. Again, we're focused on like that hybrid style training, so becoming a better athlete, but also a better player. So plenty of free content on there. Also, too, I have a free skills workout, free plyometric workout as well as a brand new free 1v1 drills workout. So if you're with your buddies, you have free 1v1 drills that we use in our app and then even in our group workouts that you can apply to your own settings. So all you got to do is just go to our website or go to my Instagram and you can do all that great stuff, type in the comments, and boom, you get a free workout. So we have those as well. Right now, we have our app that's going to be launching. So with the app, we have 6 different skill programs focusing on pretty much every in-depth skill when it comes to finishing, mid-range, obviously perimeter, isolation moves, 1v1 drills, react drills, RDQ drills, all the shebang, weekly workouts and whatnot, and obviously film study and IQ. So we're getting very in-depth. It's constantly being added monthly into the workouts. So it's been a long project that we've been working on, especially that I've been working on because I think a lot of players right now are missing so many subtle details and so many just easy fixes into their training that I feel like could be fixed with this app. And so I'm just hoping to get this out to as many people as I can. I'm really working hard with the marketing and trying to get it out there so all these players can see it. And so I just want to see a lot of players just change their game. And even if it's on their own, just understanding that I want them to think like me. And so I think this app can really help players do it. And I'm really just going hard and trying to get as much value and impact out of that and just get it out to as many people as I can.
Awesome, man. Awesome. To all the kids out there that want to work on your game, he has free content for you. Free content, free
Yes,
game, free
yes. You
skills.
don't have to pay. It is free. Don't worry about it.
No signing up. But all right, Ian. Wish we can do this again in the near future, man. This was great, man. See you guys soon.
I appreciate it, guys.